Hey guys, it's Chris Singh here, back from C&H Small Engine again. I'm doing a another video. This video deals with Cadet's newer line of walk-behind lawnmowers. It's called a wide area walk-behind, if I recall correctly. I think they started making them back in 2008, 2009, and the earlier models have the reliable, or I should say proven, Briggs and Stratton engine on them, such as this one right here. And the I think one's like 2010 to 2014 now. They have the cheap piece of garbage Chinese engine on them, because I had a couple other guys bring the same type of machine over here last year, and they had a completely different engine on them, probably because Cadet was trying to do a cost-saving measure, as opposed to having the older style Briggs on it like this one has right here. This one right here actually has quite a few hours on it, even though it's a 2010 model right here. I'll even show you the hour gauge on the back here as well. Let me see here. Here we go. This one has, there's that right down there, 672.2 hours on this machine right here, and that's a lot of hours for a 2010 here. I got a Cub Cadet Series 2000 tractor, and my tractor only has about maybe, I think, about 220 hours on mine, and it's a 2006 model, and I had it since like 06, and it's 2014 already. So this guy must have been seriously using this machine quite heavily out there for it, and it does look like it. He's starting to get some rust down on the mower deck as well down there. Plus, there's a lot of white corrosion. You can actually see it on the engine right here as well too, up on the cylinder head, and on the sides of the casing, the crankcase down there as well too. And the customer brought this machine over to me a few days back. Was complaining that the machine was wasn't running quite right, as he told me. He said it was also flooding off for him as well too, and we took a look at it over here, and his fuel line on this particular machine, it was actually coming apart on the inside. It almost looked like a potato skin. If you ever seen a potato, whenever you put them in the microwave and you heat them up, and you basically cook them in the microwave, it gets like real it gets real, I don't know what you want to call it. It basically loses its texture on it, and gets really what do you want to call it, stiff, or it starts to break it down in the outer shell on there. And this guy's basic fuel line on here was doing the same exact thing. It was getting really crappy. It was actually deteriorating on the inside. It was breaking off and clogging up the fuel line on this machine here too. And he had debris down inside the tank as well. Let me get this tank off here. Get out of there. And down inside here, he had some particulates. This is probably still floating around down inside. You can probably see it down there. There's a bunch of black crap, and he had water all down inside there. And the fuel line was all screwed up too. I put a new fuel line on here. This is the OEM fuel line. Plus, they put an aftermarket piece up above too. It's green. I think it's green bar fuel line on here. It's supposed to be the fuel line of choice for the OEM manufacturers out there. And let me show you what else it had on here too. Here's a bag of all the parts right here. Here's the old spark plug right here. And he had an oil light in here. I don't know why I put an oil light in, but it looks like it was burning kind of funny on there for that. I don't like oil lights myself, but it's personal preference. Here's the other fuel filler he had. It's a non-OEM Briggs and Stratton one on here. And that thing was full of black crap, because the guy put a shutoff valve on the actual line itself on here, and he should have put the fuel filter before the shutoff valve, as opposed to having it after, because you want the fuel tank up high, and then you had the fuel filter below that, then your shutoff valve below that, so your fuel filter will catch anything that goes down to your shutoff valve before it has a chance of clogging them up, because those shutoff valves are you can't take them apart. Basically, they're just throwaways anyway. So here's his old fuel shutoff valve right here. He had some crap down inside it on there, even though you can't really see down inside, because most of these have like a ball type of thing down inside. You just rotate the knob, and it rotates a ball down inside here. Let me see where his fuel line's at right here. That's the good stuff, right? That's that good stuff I got right here. Here we go. Here's his fuel line right here. You probably can't really see down inside it, but the fuel line inside was deteriorating. Not completely on this piece right here, but this is the piece that actually goes to the carburetor. It has a slight bend because they have these manufactured specifically for these engines, because the carburetor goes down on one side. You have a big elbow coming out of the carburetor. That's why it has these big bends right here. This is an EPA. It says 15, manufactured in 1/18/2010, Avon green bar 1/4 inch fuel line right there for it. That's the original bad stuff. And here's the other. Let me see. This is the other. No, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Here's the original fuel line I took off here. Let me see. I'm seeing shine that light down inside, but you can see right down inside there. The fuel line, it looks like the inner liner was coming apart completely down inside there. You can see it, it's like all flaked off, and it's basically plugged the line completely, or I should say almost completely, because whenever I took the line off the carburetor, it was just barely dribbling out of there for that. And let me see, you can see the other part right here. You can see it down inside here. It's starting to flake off down there as well too, and it has a bunch, like, look at orangish yellow crap down there too. That's the other piece right there. Let me see another. Let me see. That's the other stuff I cut off on there. That piece looks relatively pretty good. That's a brand new stuff I had here. But that's basically what the old stuff looks like on there for that. And the carburetor was actually flooding itself over here too. I gotta mention that. I started up testing around for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it was acting like it was bogging out. Basically, it was running okay for about 10 or 15 seconds, and it was and it started running okay again. And the thing was flooding itself out basically for that, and because this debris, as I mentioned before, it was actually breaking off and going down inside the carburetor and clogging up the orifices in the carburetor for that. So I don't know how the fuel line was coming off, but this is the first time I've ever seen something like that happen, where the inner fuel line, the actual inner, the ID, the fuel line starts deteriorating so bad that it's clogging up your engine. I've never seen that. Most of the time, the fuel line deteriorates on the outer part first, after maybe 5-10 years, depending on what the quality of gas is, plus if it's left outside for like UV damage and stuff like that. Let me see what else I was going to say. Yeah, I shut the machine off for about 10 minutes, then I came back to restart out here, and the machine would not start at all because the engine hydro locked itself on there. And I took a spark plug out, then there was gasoline basically pouring out of the cylinder under for that, so I had to shut the engine off again, turn the shut-off valve off, and take that entire fuel line off there as well too, and put a new piece, or a new fuel line on there as well. And let me see what else. This machine has a Nicky carburetor. It's the Nicky carburetor as opposed to the Walbro, like LMK or LMM. I personally like the Walbro style carburetor as opposed to the Nicky ones, because the Nicky ones, for whatever reason, tend to flood a lot more often and more in more cases as opposed to the Walbro ones. And the Nicky ones, for whatever reason, they have 2 mounting bolts on the carburetor as well to actually hold the carb up on, rather than one big bolt on the bottom like the typical Walbros do and stuff like that, like Briggs & Stratton has on most of the machines. So if you have a machine like this that has the Nicky carburetor, I recommend replacing it with a newer, updated Walbro one if you can, if they have a crossed over partner for it. This one right here did not, so I'm going to simply have to replace it with another Nicky carburetor, and those carburetors are not cheap. They're about $110, $115 from my distributor for my parts. So they're not a cheap item right here for that. And this guy's going to need the entire fuel system cleaned out, the gas tank, like I said before, because he had debris, water, and anything else like that. Needs all new fuel line, new fuel filter. I put the white OEM Briggs & Stratton filter on it, plus I put the shut-off valve below that as well too, so if anything gets down in the fuel line, it'll get stopped by the filter first before it goes down and possibly cause problems with the shutoff valve. So it'll provide a little bit of more insurance on there for that. So He also needs the oil change out probably twice because it does smell of gasoline in the oil as well too. So the oil is going to need to change out probably at least once, and then after that change it out again just to make sure it's completely and thoroughly cleaned. Plus the air filter needs to be replaced too because it was shooting gas up through the intake system on our tube because the engine was flooding itself out, and the spark plug also is going to need replaced because it was saturated with the gasoline as well too. And it's basically cover your ass procedure right there. So if anything happens to the old spark plug, you just simply replace them. It's only about $2 or $3 right there for that. So if anybody has any questions, comments, whatnot about this specific machine right here, it's a 2010. It's the Cadet 33-inch wide cut mower, as you see right there, with 4 speeds. And you can just give me a call here if you know my phone number, or simply leave me a detailed message on my page and I'll try to answer any questions you may have. I'll see you guys.